We are Tekken.
Oh, what is going on, guys? Up here back again with the analysis of the Tekken 7 Rage and Sorrow trailer, talking about things you might have missed. I'm going to be using screenshots and a small frame for this video because the YouTube flagging system doesn't know how to detect fair use, and by the time I get monetization back, my earnings from the video are going to be gone anyway, so I apologize for that. Let's get started. The scene opens up to a tiny Kazuya punching Heihachi in the waistband until Heihachi kicks him out of frame. "You killed my mother," Kazuya says. This is interesting because when Tiny Kazuya was first revealed as a story element, I thought this was a training session between father and son, which it is, but the reason Kazuya is fighting Heihachi in the way that he is all due to Heihachi killing Kazuya's mother, which is something the animated Tekken movie and the previous games 1 through 6 never really told us. I believe this to be moments just before Kazuya is thrown off the cliff, which was originally what set everything in Tekken in motion. However, now that we have just this little bit of insight into the backstory, we know that it's just a lot more complicated than that. The next important detail we see is a quick flash of characters that are going to be important in the story. In order, we have Claudio, Alisa, Lars, Jin Kazama, Lee Chaolan, Nina Williams, then Kazuya, and then Heihachi. These characters, aside from the obvious ones due to how this footage was edited, will likely play a bigger part in the story than we first thought. We see Claudio, who was one of the first new characters announced and revealed to be the member of a secret organization called the Archers of Sirius. Now, these guys are a group of exorcists who have been dedicated to banishing supernatural entities from the world since ancient times, and apparently they had been repeatedly approached by the Zybatu to join their business, but they refuse. Claudio, being the leader of the Archers of Sirius, has decided to investigate Heihachi and the rest of the Zybatu. Now, we know, as I discussed in my latest Tekken Theory and Lore video featuring Eddie and Christy, that the Zybatu creates dinosaurs, boxing kangaroos, and other abominations. But the real question is, do they have something supernatural for Claudio to come and banish? My best guess is they still have something to do with the devil gene laying around their labs. I theorized in my Nina and Anna Tekken Theory and Lore video that Kazuya tested traces of the devil gene from himself and put them into Steve's body, which is why his arm looks the way it does and why he's so good at punching. He's got devil arms. Steve does not get a laser, he instead gets to punch things really hard. If they don't have the devil gene lying around, they might have some other supernatural things lying around that we don't even know about. So Claudio might be this very constant annoyance in the story, getting on Heihachi's nerves while he's trying to get done. Next, in that flashing character sequence, Alisa and Lars were shown right next to each other, meaning that they should be back fighting side by side yet again, continuing where they left off in Tekken 6's scenario campaign, where Lars brought Alisa to Lee Chaolan in order to fix her after he was forced to defeat her in battle, and her programming engaged a full system shutdown. She was broken. The thing is, later in the trailer, there's this shot of Alisa turning around. She appears to have been fully repaired and she's doing just fine. However, in the next shot, in this very same corridor, possibly part of the same scene, we see Lee with a gun pointed at his head. That's Lars holding the gun with his new outfit indicated by the gold stripe and the exoskeleton fingers. And before you ask, no, it's not the same gun he used to shoot Heihachi in the teeth. Why would this be a necessary course of action unless Lee decided to betray Lars? How exactly would he do that? My theory is that he could have reprogrammed Alisa to only obey him, or the reason could be totally unrelated. We'll just have to find out later. Later in the trailer, we see her fighting back against Lee, and this time in her original outfit. He's extremely surprised by this, and of course he starts fighting back. I thought this part was pretty funny and cool right here. This is Alisa holding one of the various miniguns you can pick up in Tekken 6's scenario campaign. Next, we have this mysteriously cloaked figure walking around during a sandstorm. That's Jin in his new Devil Jin Tekken 7 outfit, minus the gauntlets and plus a cloak. At the end of Tekken 6's scenario campaign, Raven and his team find Jin unconscious and in the sand. We assume they pick him up to either help him or to do testing on him or both. He is then approached by lower-budget armed forces that we do not recognize. They do not appear to be Zybatu, Zybatu rebels, or G-Corp soldiers. They also do not appear to be from Raven's team or even Russian soldiers on Dragunov's side. In fact, these blue and white soldiers, unlike everyone I just mentioned, don't even wear an emblem anywhere on their uniforms. which means it's not important for others to know who they are. In other words, they're likely soldiers of a secret organization, even more secret than Raven's organization. That's right, these guys may in fact be part of the Archers of Sirius here to assist Claudio, or they're just some unknown entity that we just don't know yet. Now also in this trailer, we see Jin lying down in a facility unharmed, and this could very well be what happened when Raven's organization got a hold of him, or it's sometime after Jin was in the desert with his cloak. The guy driving the vehicle is Lars. I find this next one particularly interesting. We're shown a flashback of something happening between Kazumi and Heihachi. She's in her devil form, shooting a laser at a dark-haired Heihachi. This could in fact be the scene where Heihachi supposedly kills her, because the very next time we see this flashback, it's young Heihachi looking at the floor and crying. It's not hard to guess what's going on here. He's likely looking at Kazumi's dead body, but this could easily be misdirection. Heihachi in just about every Tekken is shown trying to kill a member of his family because they have the devil gene, meaning Heihachi has always thought of killing someone with some actual purpose. Except for that time he killed Michelle Chang's father by power bomb. Death. For example, he threw Kazuya off a cliff before Tekken 1 just to teach him a life lesson. He then threw him into a volcano to kill him because he had the devil gene. There was an ending in Tekken 3 where he shoots Jin in the head because he has the devil gene, and an ending where he throws him out of the helicopter because he's changing into Devil Jin. And in Tekken 4, there's a scene where he captures both Jin and Kazuya, likely for the purpose of stealing their devil powers, killing them in the process. In Tekken 5, there's a scene where he launches Jin, Kazuya, and Jinpachi into space via rocket, and in Tekken 6, he pushes Jin and Kazuya out from a spaceship to fall back onto the Earth, killing himself in the process. Cause Kazuya was like, "F you coming down with me." Heihachi's motive appears to have always been to do with getting rid of that blasted devil gene, so it must have been no different when he literally had to kill Kazumi. Then later we are shown one more time Heihachi shedding a single tear. Next we see Nina getting done. Here she is standing with and not against Zybatu's soldiers, and they're pointing their guns at Heihachi. They're standing with her. Here she is overlooking where Jin is being kept. Next she's being trapped by large doors. Next she's fighting Heihachi as the camera, just the way I like it. Then she's fighting Alisa, who just blew up the door she was trapped behind. This is so crazy. What it looks like to me is Nina is still loyal to Jin and she's just doing her job even though the Zybatu is under Heihachi's control. The reason she stands with and not against the soldiers is because they are the same Zybatu rebels working with Lars, and they are all likely fighting against Heihachi because honestly, who doesn't want to fight Heihachi? Actually, this could be Heihachi coming to kill Jin, and Nina and the rebels are trying to prevent this from happening. Next, we have Kazuya inside of the G-Court building. Later on in the trailer, Kazuya is now on top of the building and is shooting a laser at Akuma. Yes, I said Akuma instead of Akuma because y'all motherfuckers. Kazuya is now on top of the building and is shooting a laser at Akuma, cutting the building right down the middle because f anyone inside, they're not important. You know, I just had a weird feeling. Akuma is Heihachi's secret identity. I'll just play it, but that would be an interesting twist. And of course, if you left out of the video too early, Alisa, or Alisa, because I don't want to say Alisa by accident, so I've always been calling her Alisa, but it's Alisa. See, I'm doing it already. If you left out of the video too early, Alisa is confirmed for Tekken 7. You can get her as well as other characters and goodies with different editions of the game, but I have that covered in yet another video. Well, that's everything I could find. Did I miss anything? What do you think will happen in Tekken 7 now that we have all this new information? Will June come back in June? Will any of the Mishimas or Kazamas actually die this time? And do you think the story will be good? Leave your comments below. That's all for this video today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smack that like button with an iron fist. And remember, you can support me on Patreon. Link is in the description. See you guys next time.